Dear Victorians, welcome to another video. The coronavirus has undoubtedly had an immense impact on our lives. It has, in countless ways, negatively affected everything we do. However, this video is going to outline the good things that may come from the coronavirus, the lessons we can learn, and what we can teach future generations. Here are 7 good things that may come from the coronavirus. Number 1. Increased hygiene. Ignaz Semmelweis, the man who invented hand washing as we know it, well, his teachings are now more important than ever. Across the globe, countries are instructing their citizens to wash their hands and to wash them properly. Even in our own society, we all know someone who doesn't really wash their hands. In fact, we know lots of people. They may splash their hands with water, but they do not use soap and they don't do it for 20 seconds. More than that, cleaning our businesses, our public transport, ourselves as a whole has become more important. It has now entered the national psyche that cleanliness stops pandemics and stops viruses. This is a very good and an important development. Number 2. Preparation is critical. History teaches us that preparation for cataclysmic events is very important. The 1918 Spanish flu should have taught us many things. Woodrow Wilson was indecisive. Millions of lives were lost. We'll be talking about that next. However, what it also should have taught us is preparation is important. They needed more personal protective equipment, face masks, gloves, all things like that. Well, just with face masks, how did we go with the coronavirus? Not good. Apple, a US tech company, had stockpiled 10 million face masks in case of an event such as this. How many had the US federal government, whose role bequeathed upon it is to protect its citizens? It had 12 million face masks. Apple, 10 million. The United States, 12 million. This is unacceptable. They should have had hundreds of millions of masks, or whatever was necessary according to the experts. This will not happen again. The United States and other countries are now going to learn how important preparation is. South Korea already has, when they suffered MERS, and now you're seeing South Korea decline. Hopefully, next time, we can be like South Korea and other countries which were prepared for these events. Number 3. Weak, indecisive leaders are bad. One thing we have learned from this virus is that strong, independent, and leadership which can operate under pressure is what we want. What we do not want is weak-willed leadership which has been bought by foreign powers and which cannot operate well under pressure. I will not mention the bad leadership. I will, however, mention the good leadership. Taiwan, for instance, as early as January 23rd, restricted travel from China. It saw the coming storm. And the results? Well, now Taiwan is one of the leading countries in dealing with the coronavirus. Singapore implemented strong measures early on as well, and they also encouraged their citizens to get tests even in the mildest of symptoms. Even big bad Russia, as early as January 30th, it closed the entire border to China. These countries are all now reaping the benefits of taking such strong, decisive action early on. Whilst, however, we are now beginning to realise the scope of this virus, it may be a little too late. However, the good thing about this is that the electorate now can see which leaders are good and which leaders are bad, and what type of leaders they want. However, more than just national leadership, organisational leadership was necessary, and perhaps the cause of this whole virus, next to one certain country, has been the WHO. They are owned by new masters now, and the WHO did not want countries to close the border to China. They said, no, do not worry. This is shocking. It was either weak leadership or treachery or foreign ownership. Organisations now need to have a look at what leaders they choose. Their names are going to be popping up on the chopping board, and people are going to want heads. They want strong organisational leaders who encourage countries to take action, not discourage. Number 4. Making our own stuff is good. The days of worshipping the GDP are over. Manufacturing is the single most important national security issue. 90% of US pharmaceutical goods are made overseas. This is unacceptable. Many people rely on these goods for their survival. The good news, there is bipartisan support to change this. Marco Rubio and Elizabeth Warren both agree on something for once. They both want to bring back manufacturing to the United States, in particular of these pharmaceutical goods. In fact, the Republicans and Democrats are both agreeing on this. Things are changing. Manufacturing is being brought back home after all these years. The days of worshipping CEOs who sip lattes and preach to the masses are over. It's time to give people jobs again. It's time to secure the nation again. And both sides, left and right, agree on this. The funny thing is, the United States cannot even manufacture enough face masks or gloves to keep up with what is needed. A simple thing such as this is embarrassing. And of the goods which are allowed to make it into the country from certain other nations, they are usually of substandard quality. This leaves no choice to the politicians, and they are beginning to act. They import and manufacture things from overseas, and when and if they arrive, they are of substandard quality. Things made in the United States will be much better. The United States won the Second World War with the power of manufacturing. Let's hope this lesson can be learnt and be repeated again with the coronavirus. Number 5. Telling the truth is important. The lack of truthfulness is part of the reason why the coronavirus has exploded in the way it has. A certain country, that country being the People's Republic of China, led by the CCP, has lied to us. It knew since December about the coronavirus. It chose not to tell the world. It chose to not stop its citizens from leaving the country, and in the millions exporting the virus throughout the planet. Who covered for this country? Well, President Xi, who lied, but this is expected, as well as the World Health Organization, the chief of the World Health Organization. These two individuals here are why the coronavirus spread in the way it did. They are to blame. The head chief of the World Health Organization chose not to tell countries to close their borders. If they were telling countries to close their borders early on, like some countries, for instance Taiwan and Russia were, this would not have exploded in the way it did. There are also heroes, like this man here, Wing Yang. He told the world about the coronavirus even though his life was in jeopardy. May he rest in peace. China also hid other things which we'll be covering next. Nonetheless, there is good news. There are calls for the World Health Organization chief to step down. There are also Western media outlets, even though a number of them have been bought off, who are calling the China out, and who are also calling the CCP out. With a man like this, President Xi, and look at this image here, I do not think he is going to step down anytime soon, but it is important we are now telling the truth about the situation. Number 6. Animal rights and wet markets. Wet markets have been known to be a problem for quite some time now. HIV possibly started from the African equivalent of bushmeat. In 2002, the SARS epidemic may have started from wet markets, and the Chinese government banned wet markets for a period of time. It wasn't long, however, before wet markets crept back in. Now they are still widespread throughout East Asia, Southeast Asia, and Africa. There are even fish wet markets in the West, however they are not as much of a problem, while still they need a look. Nonetheless, their problem lies in the fact so many different animals, quite a large variety actually, are kept and slaughtered live in these wet markets. The various excrements and juices flow, and it is a breeding ground for various viruses, as well as the animals themselves which are slaughtered there. It goes from bats to peacocks to leopards, rare turtles, hogs, rats and foxes, and a whole variety of other animals. Animals such as snakes and bats are particularly bad for viruses and should not be eaten. This is a practice which needs to be looked at. While the CCP in China has ostensibly banned wet markets once again, we are already starting to see they are creeping back in. The difference this time is hopefully that Western media and the general populace are more aware, and there is greater attention with politicians around the world calling for an end to wet markets. Hopefully China, of its own seeking of its own preservation, will permanently ban wet markets. And finally, animal rights abuses. This has documented the way these animals are slaughtered are in themselves an animal rights abuse. Hopefully this can extend to animal rights abuses around the world, including dogs which are skinned alive in northern China. And overall, there are good signs as opposed to the last couple of times this has happened. This time there seems to be serious media attention to this and a serious change in the population's view of wet markets. Number 7. Celebrities need to know their place and privilege.
Yeah, till July sounds like a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry. But, like, it's a virus. I get it. Like, I respect it. But at the same time, like, even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die. It's just terrible. But, like, inevitable? I don't know. Maybe I should.
There is the lovely response from Vanessa Hudgens. Her words inspire me. People are gonna die. Inspirational stuff. It just shows she doesn't really care. She just wants to go back to posting on Instagram and living her A-lister life. The problem is these celebrities somehow think that the very fact that they have to be inside their mansions and palaces means that they can relate to us. They can't. They're upon their pedestal. They are part of the reason why this very virus spread. Their greed and selling off of this nation. And they have the audacity to view us as mere serfs, where we look up to them as not only actors and poets, as gods. Here I'll leave you with this inspiring video from Gal Gadot and her alike. Stay afterwards if you want to listen to some commentary, if you can stomach your way through the next 2 minutes. If you do watch this, I definitely think you will agree with me that is a good thing people have so negatively reacted to this. Here it is.
You know, this virus had affected the entire world, everyone. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, we're all in this together. And I ran into this video of this Italian guy playing the trumpet in his balcony to all the other people who were locked inside their homes. And he was playing Imagine, and there was something so powerful and pure about this video. And it goes like this. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
No hell below us.
Above us only sky.
Imagine all the people
living for today. Yeah.
Imagine there's no countries, yeah.
It isn't hard to do.
Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living for today. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
Imagine no possessions.
I wonder if you can.
No need for greed and hunger. Brotherhood of man.
Sharing all the world. You. They say that I'm a dreamer.
But I'm not the only one.
I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
I do not know how they thought this would go well. It's quite disgusting. No, we are not all in this together. These celebrities are extremely wealthy and privileged, and they ought to start knowing that. Your words aren't golden liqueur coming from the fountain of Rome. No, you are mere jesters. Know your place. And can you imagine paying the bills? Could that please be what you do? How about you pay people's rents and their mortgage? And the two which annoy me the most, Pedro Pascal and Jamie Dornan. Well, Pedro Pascal says, imagine no possessions. Well, please, part with your possessions. Live by the words you are speaking. Oh, and Jamie Dornan, it's just a little thing, but he comes out with his hair wet from the shower, as if that's an act of solidarity because we all have showers. No, Jamie Dornan, you're extremely wealthy. You all are. You will not know the pain of having to pay bills, rent, mortgages. It's all very easy for you, and you're kept up inside your little mansions. My most humble apologies for that. But how about you stay in your cages and let the real heroes do their work, the essential workers. All you should be doing is donating your money. Leave a comment below what actor annoyed you the most from that little video of theirs. Thank you for watching this video. I humbly request that you like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Please also share with your friends and family if possible. Once again, thank you for watching this video, and please stay safe in these troubled times.